Alright guys, so welcome to our first vlog episode of Makddy. This is the first of us taking you through the builds that we are currently going through. So Makddy here in the background, Mac 34's build, and obviously our Pro Mod car once it gets here. We're going to go through the build process with you guys so you can be part of the journey, and every time there's an update or a progress, we'll film it and bring you out so you can see the process of not only what it takes to build a race car, but you know what goes into it and the people involved. So welcome to the channel, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Herman,
how are you?
Not today, yeah. So you're under the pressure today. Well, I think everyone is under the pressure in the last few days. So Herman has had about, what, 3 hours sleep, I think, in the last 48 hours. So
yeah, it's been a long couple of weeks.
A bit self-inflicted by me, so, and himself. So
we don't help each other or ourselves.
No, we don't help the cause, but that's how you get shit done, right?
Yeah.
So he's
So what have we done?
he's made you these new mid plate and an adapter.
Yep. That's a starter motor. So basically, that bolts to the engine. That's your mid plate in the car, and they lock in.
Beautiful. Right.
So you have studs that come through, so the engine can be removed from the mid, and then on the other side, so your tranny can get removed off the mid as well.
Yep.
Off your transom plate, I should say. Then you've got on the back of this is your Chev dowels. We got rid of the top bolt because you can't get to it when you're in the car anyway.
We'll probably just cut that off the top.
Yeah, it's seems weird. Seems like it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But everything's locked in.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And that's it. So that mid plate, put that up here, Lockie.
I see you've already
Yeah, he's already put the holes in it for you.
it
is a bit oversized, but yeah.
But he's already done these for you where they actually went.
Oh.
Hard work's done.
Oh.
Yeah. This is why I wanted to go with his.
How come I haven't met this guy before?
Well, you have now. You have now.
But because everyone that always orders a mid plate and transom plate, they say, I want a sheet this big.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? I know your tunnel isn't that big.
Yeah.
So we gave you a little bit extra just in case.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, basically, all that's going to get done is get cut to this.
It's going to get cut exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much the back to that size. Yeah. 16.
Rounded
What
up
was it? 17.
17
It was 17 mil, and
So
that's
what's that overall?
17.
Minus
6.
So
10 mil difference.
yeah,
10 mil forward.
we're shifting the engine forward.
So you'll have to move this 10 mil back
Well,
if you want to maintain. Have you got a mill here?
Yeah.
Why don't you where these things line up,
just
go
counterbore it.
counterbore at 5 mil,
Yeah.
and then you're only 5 mil off,
Yeah.
and that'll be a nice
No,
fit
no,
on your
I mean,
tube.
It doesn't bother us, but the turbo mount's already done.
Yeah, 100%.
That's nothing's.
Yeah, you don't want to muck around with all that if we don't have to.
You're going to use a different intake now, so that doesn't matter anyway.
Yep.
But it's just more the turbo side of it
And the transom, the front plate.
and the front mount. I mean, that we could space that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
It's a
put
5 mil spacer, or we could make one.
Yeah.
If I grab that now, we'll run up to the shop, stop everything quickly, Mum. I'm gonna hit you, I swear. Where does it end?
Well, it doesn't really end with this thing, does it? Function. Have you heard Joe's theories? Tell him the theories, Joe.
Go on.
And number one rule here is safety, functionality, looks. Don't mix the order up in lots.
Well, we've given you 9 degrees, so you should have a 0 offset on the bell. Yeah.
So our transmission fan should be flat.
Completely flat.
So that's how we set them up, regardless.
Should we grab that can, just double check that it's all...
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
You know what I mean?
You never know,
Herman
Joe.
hasn't had much sleep, so there's
You never know.
a bit of, there's room for error here.
They use have made dowels and that for this, do you?
That's that one.
Because we might have to
Spot on except for the bottom 2 holes.
So if I make it a century push,
Which bottom two?
These 2. But that doesn't matter.
so yours.
We never run it anyway.
You don't?
Can.
You might get upset with us here, Joe, but we converted it all back to metric because we don't like imperial.
Not bad for less than a week.
We were measuring this bell housing while Anthony Matuk was taking it off us.
Oh, really?
Literally.
Yeah.
So this same setup exactly is what we're using in the 34,
Yeah.
except obviously it's just going to have the different
You've got a cutout for the drive shaft.
Yep.
These aren't there,
Yep.
and we just did it on a bigger plate.
And is that recessed?
That's the same, but
For the sump.
this side
Yep.
has got a recess for the whole engine
And what about the sump?
and the sump.
And the sump. Okay. So that's what makes them different.
That's
But
right.
other than that, they're all the can. And
Everything
everything
else
the
bolts the same,
Yeah.
but it's
So, yeah.
technically a different file.
same. So Herman's also making the
So when you
flex plate for this as well, a custom flex plate to suit.
yeah.
Hey Herman, I need this plate done. Yeah, no worries. When?
Next week.
Midday tomorrow.
No, next week. It was like the next day.
And don't forget, we'd already done 2 complete designs.
I mean, the machine probably didn't take long to make this. It was the
That's not the point. Yeah, it's the holding it. You know what it is? This is a flat plate, and it goes on the bed of the machine. But we got 3 vices in there running a job, and dialing the vices in and setting them up. That takes half a day, easy.
Okay.
And pulling it all off and cleaning the bed. Well, then you got hours as well.
Yeah, that's
Well,
It's that.
You're down.
you also had a point to prove, and your point's been proven now. And
we-
you
we-
got it done in.
We've proven our point a lot of times.
Yeah, well, again, another one.
You got a problem here.
What's that?
To relieve that, you got to cut that out. You're good with that? Yeah,
It's out of pocket.
yeah.
Have you got the starter?
It's coned down, a standard
yeah,
RB.
Standard RB starter.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
It'll be a standard RB starter, standard ring gear. So that way it's like universal.
The way of it.
And the 4-wheel drive one, you've got to cut a big section out of, where does that end up? On the
Bell
other
housing.
side, isn't it? Here,
The starter.
under the starter? About here somewhere. And you end up with a big hole
It's
there.
not a problem doing it.
Nothing's going to go through the drive shaft, though, is it? You've got 2 pieces of metal that it's got to go through.
I've seen a
You've seen it?
flywheel disintegrate and take a pinky toe off and take
Hey, Zeta.
a windshield out.
Did he lost a bit
Yeah,
of...
Zeta.
Yeah. I mean, look.
He's all right
you know-
throwing a
you know,
pinky.
like
We
the-
can throw a pinky in.
Good thing that you're making these bell housing, but you know what's mostly important is getting them SFI approved.
That's the thing I don't know,
Yeah.
how to do that part.
SFIing, because all these cars, the amount of power they're making should all have SFI bell housings
Who actually is SFI? How do you approach them?
in America.
It's right there somewhere.
Yeah, I know
That
the
is.
ratings there, and here we've got the Australian design rules, which I'd be fine to get around, but to work with them.
You
But
just have to find
It's
the governing body of SFI.
You know what I mean?
this sort of stuff, you got to know someone. You
Yeah.
got to know who to talk to.
It wouldn't be that hard to
that's
figure
right.
out. Behind us is Makddy, believe it or not, for those of you that know the car. Yes, it's stripped and it's in high fill. So we had a bit of a brain snap moment and we decided to change the gearbox in the car, and obviously the lead up to that led to us saying, well, why don't we do a bit more work and stuff that we sort of missed last time while waiting for all these parts to get here and from the States and so on. Yeah, look, you know, Joe and the guys did a mad job last time getting all the work done, you know, twin railing the car and everything else that we needed to get the car to the point that it was at. But we did not have enough time to do some key things like the tubs and the back seat and, you know, parcel shelf and stuff like that. And now because of, you know, the new setup with the transmission and having to put a bigger can in, as like what you just seen us talking with Herman about, with the design that he's made. So there's a bit of modifications that are going to happen. So we said, why don't we do this now while we're waiting? And that Joe asked me if we wanted to do carbon tubs.
Yep.
Was it, Joe?
Yep.
So I think we're going to go carbon tubs in the back.
Yep, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we got, we've been talking with Fab
Yep.
in Queensland, and they make a 32-inch wheel tub in carbon, so we'll cut them out and do what we have to do to make them fit.
Yep.
We'll change the parcel shelf and the in between the tub section there,
Yep.
and we'll change that to carbon fibre.
Yep.
Yeah, just try and take as much weight out of this thing as we can.
Yeah, so pretty much if you look back here, so yeah, obviously the tubs are pretty much standard wheel arch at the moment.
So previously, whoever owned this car did a where they've cut the original tub and sectioned it and moved it and added 50, 60 mil there. So we'll just cut the whole lot out and we'll make a flange up for it so the carbon fibre can bolt into it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool. So yeah, the whole back seat area, including the parcel shelf, will pretty much be carbon fibre.
That's right, yeah.
And I know that you hate me for this, but we're going to do the tunnel as well in carbon fibre.
Yeah.
So the tunnel will be all closed off instead of having the aluminium.
Yeah. We've got to fit this new gearbox and bell housing combination and see what we need to change in the car to make it all so it all works obviously and easily to work on. But yeah, other than that, like there's obviously the doors and the windows.
So we've also put fiberglass doors on, boot and bonnet, and we're going to go perspex windows all around. Lexan windows, all the way around. I think so far, just from rough calculations of what I've done, I think we're close to about 100 kilos.
Yeah.
That's without the tubs and the rear.
Yeah, well that's 220 pounds.
Yeah. So I think we'll be a little bit over 100 kilos, but we'll do a final weight check once it's done and figure out what that did. Obviously, as you've always said, taking too much weight can also not be a good thing.
Oh, well look, I mean, take as much weight as we can out of it, but then being able to add weight where we need the weight. That's the ideal goal. So we want.
So this gives us that ability to be able to play around with things that we couldn't before. So it's going to be killer, man. It's going to be awesome.
It should be good once it's done.
Looking forward to it. I think this car's had about 3 visits to this shop in all.
It's been modified a few times, but I just wish we had the opportunity to do it from start to finish because it was a compromise of what was already done, and then we knew that it wasn't 100%, but the deadline we had to make the event let us only do a certain amount. Then it came back for version 2 with another deadline.
So now we're at version 3. So that's
now
why
version 3 without a deadline.
There's always a deadline, Joe. You know
There's
that.
always a
Ask
deadline.
Herman. Herman knows all about that. Hey Herman, do you know what a deadline is? It's his life. So the aim of this is obviously to get you guys to see what it's like to pretty much build a car from the ground up, because that's really what we're doing ultimately, almost. And see the process involved all the way to the racetrack, and hopefully getting some killer numbers on that board. So we'll definitely get some more footage as we progress from Joe and the rest of the team. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I think we're heading in the right direction.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, it's always, every time we've done something, we've moved forward. We just got to keep taking steps, and I don't know where we're going to end up, but geez, it's already a quick car.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so we got a call from Murad and Anthony Matuk, the boys there, trying to get us to help integrate a solution. It's an RB with an RBX crank, so you're talking Hemi bolt pattern, 2 JZ mains, God knows what, into an RB, then running a Chev Mazier flex plate or ring gear with a Mazier starter motor, and then Chev or Hemi bell housing, and then an aftermarket billet torque converter. So things just start getting really wild because you don't know where you start and where you're finishing. Now we've made plenty of flex plates, aftermarket alley billet flex plates for all the different pro mod type, extreme, compact, extreme type 5-second cars. So now we were faced with an issue because we're making bits and pieces for everyone and nothing is standardized, nothing's universal. We have to stop what we're doing and make a one-off for Zeus or a one-off for the Don or whatever it is, right? So we cover all those sorts of cars. We thought, you know what, we're just going to spend the time and do this properly and standardize it, and we'll make a kit. There've been a couple of people asking us about it, but it's such a hassle to do it because we don't have all of the information with us and all of the different versions. We just decided, all right, we'll go to Matooks, we'll gather it all up, we'll get the VL Big Mac, which we didn't even know we were doing at the time. We were designing a transom mid plate for Mac 34. So then we thought, let's just get them all out. So we do them all. So we piled up all the aftermarket bell housings, torque converters, mid plates, front plates, adapters, and everything that we'd already made. And we formulated a standard across the board type solution with our billet flex plate, but we've integrated an RB ring gear and an RB starter motor because they're cheap and they work. And then the position works with an RB, and then we don't have the issues of trying to adapt a 136 tooth Mazir, very uncommon type, not available in Australia.
Large diameter.
And expensive.
Yeah.
So we standardized it. So now, having a look at what we've done here, we've got our RB with our four-wheel drive dry sump. It's also a two-wheel drive version. There's two variants. Now we've created a transom mount that bolts obviously into the firewall. That becomes the firewall or bolts into the firewall. As you can see, all these Pro Mod cars, they run a similar sort of setup. The idea of this is to have a transom mount part of the car and then an adapter that's bolted onto the back of the RB itself, the RB engine. And then you can get the engine and bolt it into the firewall and remove it. Now, the other beauty of it is you've got a Chev or whatever, Turbo 400, whatever gearbox you're running, a 5-speed or a whatever. You can remove that off the transom plate as well. So then you can either take off the gearbox or take off the engine and the mid plate stays static.
And the other stays static. You can do one without the other.
You can do one without the other. So it just fixes all those problems. Then we've also got some technology to get one to sit into the other, to stop them moving, to create an extra friction point, plus all the bolt holes, and just simplify it. Two-wheel drive and a four-wheel drive version. One's got a cutout for a drive shaft. They accept all our different versions of sumps. But basically, there you have it, which is the design. It's got the imprint for our four-wheel drive sump on this particular model, but that shows you how all the combinations work. And then we've already made these flex plates before. This is how we bolt it all together with engine, dry sump, our bell housing, and also the Chev bell housing goes over the top of it. So you can run any of those combinations, and now we'll few touch-ups and we should be able to get a pretty well nearly bolt-in kit, although you've got to weld ears in your chassis rail on an R series. But we're basically transom mounting a standard GTR. That way we can start running 5s with them. Safety first.
Yep.
Anyway, that's the nuts and bolts of it all. So now that we've just finished Big Mac, we're going to work on Mac 34.
Yep.
Get that system dialed in. They'll test fit it. This one was perfect so far, so we're really happy with that as a first prototype. It's good to go.
Go for a few days.
Yep. And then we'll finish Big Mac Mac 34, and then it can be a standard kit off the shelf with the ring gear. Thank you to Uni Clutch for helping us with the ring gears. Starter motor you can get anywhere, 34 reduction type starter motor, you'll never break it. So it's a cheap kit, so this should all retail with a starter motor, flex plate, ring gear, everything, under $2.5 grand I'd say, and on the shelf. 2 or 4-wheel drive, problem solved. Thanks guys.